Is this the one thing that brings the world together for their order, along with the financial collapse?
Right. The financial collapse will allow the people who control governments to dictate to the people, tell them what to do. Now, this isn't going to happen overnight. This is going to happen over several years. And the financial collapse will force people to accept whatever the government wants. I mean, you're going to have, in the United States, military mixed in with law enforcement. Law enforcement will become federalized and militarized. There will be checkpoints that you'll be stopped at all over the country. And you'll never know where. They just put it up and say, all right, let's search your car. Do you have any organic milk? You know, raw milk? Do you have non-treated fresh vegetables? Do you have a gun? And incidentally, part of this treaty that our president's going to sign, and he's already said he's going to sign it, would ban all small arms except in armies. We'd have to give up our weapons. That way they would bypass having to go through the U.S. Congress. And the president just said yesterday that the House and the Senate don't have to pass a bill. We're going to do it anyway. I'll just make an executive order, and that'll be the end of it. So our president has admitted that he is going to commit high treason and that he's going to do anything he wants as dictator of America. And it's up to you to go after your congressman. It's the only place left for you. And influence all of the local government around you and expose what these people are doing. And if you don't, you're going to end up in an internment camp. And everybody over 65 years old will be euthanized. So that's your future, if you allow it. And that's what the Copenhagen meeting basically is about. As far as the markets are concerned, the Dow continues to hang around a small area. Gold is down. How much is it down from its high? 120 points?
We had hit, 1224? Yeah, so 108.
108. So we should be through with it somewhere in here. There won't be any option selling this month. The close is on the 28th, and all of the long option positions have been wiped out. And so you won't get any selling from that this month. I have a few questions here.
You know, Bob, gold was up pretty strong in early market trading. It was, when I turned it on about, I don't know, early this morning, it was like up $14, $15. And
our government stepped in again.
Yep. And you know what, Bob? You know, you talk about, you know, they released the retail sales, and I guess that number was, you know, stronger than expected. And it's just like, how can anybody believe these numbers? Here you have food stamps that go to a record 37.2 million people are collecting food stamps. You have 1 out of 17.5 people out of work. How can that be a great recovery?
Well, it isn't. It's propaganda. And the numbers are sliced and diced.
I mean, but I mean, how can anybody even believe it? I mean, they would
Americans,
be more
like everybody else, are dumb. They don't know.
They'd be more believable if they reported more along the truth and said that we were on a good recovery, you know? Funny.
I know, but that's why we have to educate people, and that's what the forecaster's all about. Email it to everybody you can think of. Maybe you wake somebody up. That's what we're trying to do here. And incidentally, I've got some good news. I have been invited to be on George Noory. That's Tuesday night, but actually 3 a.m. Well, let me see what time it would be. It's 4 a.m. On Wednesday morning, Eastern Standard Time. So Central, it would be 3 a.m. Pacific, it would be, well, I'll go to Mountain, 2 a.m., Pacific, 1 a.m. And it'll be streamed, and I have the address in the forecaster, http www.coasttocoastam.com, and you go there and you'll be able to pick up the stream on it for those of you who want to stay up. And please, write in to George Noory, tell him what you think of the program. It's important because the more people who listen, the more likely they'll have me on again. And he reaches 30 million people all over the world. And so I was on a weekend with the other fellow, Ian, I can't remember his name, about 3 months ago. And it's a very difficult program to get on. And I think maybe part of the reason they have me on again is that my ratings are so high. I'm in the top 5 every day against the top people in the industry, and I don't even have a show. And so we're making great headway because I'm reaching a lot of people, and I want to reach a lot more people, so the more I'm on there, the better. So if you have the time and inclination, you might listen to the program, and it's only an hour, and tell them what you think of it. It's extremely important for our future because, I get on there and it doesn't cost anything, and I can help a lot of people, but more than that, we got to get the message out of what's really going on. And yes, we're reaching people. We get the government and the Illuminists who are behind government. We got them on the run. There's no question. That's why they're acting so quickly and in the open now with cap and trade, Copenhagen, and all of these other things. They're forced to. There's no way back for them. We've got to beat them. If we don't beat them, I can assure you one thing, I'll be dead. And many of you will too. So your lives are at stake here, the lives of your family. These people are diabolical monsters. If ever Satan was present on earth, it's among them. They are his emissaries. And we've got to defeat them. And we can't depend on God to come and help us. You got to do it yourself. So think about that. Some questions here.
Yeah, I got a question for you. Why is Soros after the IMF gold? Saying that they can use that gold to support loans from rich to poor nations. I mean, why is he? I mean,
look, they're only passing the gold from one place to the other.
Yeah.
That's all they're doing. They take the IMF takes the proceeds and loans money out. And when they loan money out, they make these restrictions for the countries that are desperate to buy, take that money. And the restrictions are so onerous, it destroys the country. It puts them in bondage. And that's what they want the money for. And Soros is one of the most despicable human beings who's ever lived. He was convicted of stock fraud in Paris. He appealed and he lost. It was several months ago. He was, again, convicted of stock fraud in Hungary. When he grew up in his teens, he convinced the Gestapo in Hungary that he wasn't a Jew and went around with the Gestapo hauling Jewish people off to go to the camps or wherever they took them and took all their belongings. And, of course, he participated in the taking of their worldly goods, if you may. He is the one who set up all of these color-coded social revolutions in Eastern Europe, and he's responsible for all of that turmoil in all those countries. And he's a major advocate of drugs being readily available to the public, particularly marijuana. And